Good morning and welcome to the Open Circle Refresher. This training is for everyone who has already been trained in Open Circle and would just like a refresher on some Open Circle concepts as well as some tips and tricks on how to use Open Circle remotely versus in person. My name is Lauren Sabella. I am a licensed mental health counselor as well as a certified Open Circle trainer and coach. My role here at Reading Public Schools is the District Behavioral Health Coach. If you feel you want additional support with Open Circle, you can contact me at my email, lauren.sabella@reading.k12.ma.us, and we can set up individual or small group coaching sessions. I wanted to start today with just a little quote around mindfulness. Paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. That quote really spoke to me this morning in thinking about where we're at as we're starting the school year. A lot of times we're feeling that we may be overwhelmed or stressed out, and practicing mindfulness can be a really powerful way to really center our thoughts and calm our minds, to really pay attention in the present moment. And that non-judgmentally piece, we're going to be talking about that a little bit more today as we talk about the importance of really setting an open mind and an open atmosphere for ourselves and for our students. We really want to create a classroom that is welcoming, and Open Circle is all about letting those in and being mindful of where we're at as individuals as well as where we're at in our groups. So I invite you today during our presentation just to kind of be mindful of yourselves and how you're feeling, as well as just kind of paying attention to your own self, your own body, and your own thoughts in this moment. I want to take a moment to acknowledge that moving from this, meaning our traditional Open Circle physical in-person circles where we're usually pretty close, we're almost touching knee to knee, to this more remote Zoom conversations isn't easy, right? I mean, those are some beautiful, happy, smiling faces that we have on that Zoom call, but it's hard, right? It's hard to have to give up some of our physical social connection with our students, being in our classrooms, having all our materials. Luckily, here at Reading Public Schools, we do have the opportunity that we will be partially remote and partially in person, so we will get to be physically in the same room with our students, but as of right now, at least, that traditional Open Circle of those tight-knit circles isn't possible. However, we can still do Open Circle to a point, socially distant within the classroom, and creating that circle of all looking at each other and being present in the moment, if it's possible, if your space allows it, is still a really important thing to do. Also, if the weather is nice, going outside and doing Open Circle could be a really nice treat as well. However, if you're not able to do that in person or outside, still getting that FaceTime in remotely can also be really powerful. So let's talk a little bit about how to do Open Circle remotely. So these are some basic tech tips for Open Circle. Like I said before, use video, right? Video is really, really powerful. I know in other trainings we talked about how to, kind of blur the background or put yourself on mute to kind of promote privacy of ourselves and our students, especially if we're working from home. But it's really important to see faces, right? We can still get a lot out of our students by seeing their facial expressions, by seeing their smiles, their body language. That can be really important as well. Also, especially since even though this remote learning is something that we've been doing for a little while now, it's still important to give everyone a little bit extra time. So maybe if your Open Circle starts at 8:30, you may ask your kids to log on at 8:25. Just give them a little extra time to come in and get settled. Practice and review all technical logistics. So what is your expectation? How do you do the video? How do you blur the background? How do you mute? How do you unmute? So again, getting all those logistics out of the way before we start our Open Circle. Also, some of our kids may or may not have access to laptops, so they may be joining by phone. So if there is a student that you can't physically see, make sure you're mindful of who is present on the call so that everyone's getting an opportunity to speak throughout the Open Circle. Remember to use our skill mini posters as visuals. I'm going to show you some more of those later on today. Visuals are really great and important, right? Especially our little ones, they don't want to spend a ton of time reading. They want to hear your voice. They want to hear their friend's voice. They want to talk. Open Circle is really about them. So using visuals can be really helpful in promoting engaging conversations. And do a go around to get everyone's voice in the meeting at some point. I think go arounds are great. Starting with an opener, ending with a closer, asking lots of open-ended responses can be really helpful to get some of that engagement. Or practicing things like one word of appreciation, or giving everyone a chance to kind of appreciate someone or practice compliments. Lots of ways to get everyone's voices heard. Even though Open Circle looks a little bit different, it's still important to create and practice our norms. So as we start the new school year, we're always going to go and do Open Circle in order. So we're starting again with that beginning. We're going to talk about what is Open Circle, why do we do it, what does it mean, and we're going to set expectations and norms, right? We're going to create our non-negotiables, and we want to see what do we want our Open Circle to feel like. Also, we want to practice think time and wait time, right? So we're going to teach our students what it means to wait for our turn. We're also, as facilitators, we're going to make sure that we're giving our students time to think and process. Teach our kids how to use, again, those technical things, whether we can see them in person if they can raise their hand, or use that raise their hand feature on either Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Be mindful about the chat, right? Sometimes when we're presenting, we're not physically able to see that chat. So if you can disable the chat, or if the chat is something that you're using, if you have a co-presenter that can monitor the chat for you, that can be really helpful. But make sure that we're still accessing all of our kids. Also make sure that we're explaining to participants how to use different types of reactions, right? I mean, that's kind of one of the fun things about doing remote learning is they have the thumbs up, the hand clap, there's different kinds of emojis. Sending those other types of whole group responses could be fun too. Continuing on with the whole group responses, again, the benefit of that video is showing that sign language, me too, showing that I love you, thumbs up, silent applause, lots of options for kids to, again, kind of make eye contact and see each other and feel included. Another thing that we really want to take a cue from is being mindful about our presence as the adults. There's been a lot of uncertainty with the coronavirus, and kids may be especially hypersensitive to coming back into school. So we really want to make sure that we're being mindful of ourselves and our behaviors. So as a reminder, children take emotional cues from adults. So it's important for us to be conveying calm and compassion, as well as also only sharing facts, right, not opinions. We want to make sure that we're still practicing our good hygiene and using our PPE, but also being respectful, but not spreading the fear, right? Anxiety and fear is a contagious emotion, right? So if we're showing that we're anxious or we're fearful, it's something that can spread pretty quickly without the classroom. So again, remaining calm, reassuring, and just practicing confidence is going to help your kids also feel confident and comfortable with you and with the other adults in the room, or being, successful online. Another piece that we've been talking a lot about is mindful pauses and mindful practices. I've done some Open Circle coaching and observations throughout my time, and a lot of you do some wonderful different techniques with mindfulness. You may have some of the chimes or some of the those beautiful wishing bowls that we're hearing. Lots of beautiful ways to incorporate sound and pause and music into our Open Circle practices, but right there is actually a link, and I will share this presentation to you all as well. But Open Circle has a lot of mindfulness resources that you can use both during Open Circle and throughout your lesson planning day. So again, teaching children to take 3 slow, deep breaths, or pausing to take a 1-minute mindful pause or mindful moment throughout the day will continue to promote their coping skills and decrease their anxiety throughout the day. So we certainly want to teach and practice often, but the more we can promote mindfulness throughout our day and throughout our teaching, the better we can do for our class and for ourselves. It's also okay to say that you don't know. Open Circle is a time for open conversation. It's not necessarily a time for direct teaching. We want to promote children to feel comfortable in asking questions, and we want children to also, we want ourselves to be comfortable in not always knowing the answers. It's okay to be an adult and not have all the answers. None of us have all the answers to all of the questions all of the time, never mind about COVID. The rules and expectations around COVID are constantly changing and being updated about what is expected and what the different rules are. So it's okay to kind of reiterate and say, I don't know, or say that's a good question, like, or let's look it up together, just like you would in other facts of your classroom. But again, prioritizing the facts and really extinguishing out some of those unhelpful thoughts or ideas or the negativity is really important to kind of redirect and focus on. Remember, it's most important for them to understand that the adults in their lives, whether at school or at home, are there to protect and assist them no matter what. So again, just reminding them that, you know, they're the child and we are the adult. And as long as, you know, they're listening to the adults and they're practicing good hand washing and following the rules, that adults will continue to be there to support and care for them. Children just want to, they want to be reassured. They want to understand that things are going to be okay. And it's okay not to know. It's okay not to have all of the answers right now. What's important is that we're just being supportive to them and that we're showing them that we're there and that we want to show up for them. Some facilitation skills reminders. So remember, Open Circle is not just about the curriculum, it's about how we deliver it. That's why we have such an intensive in-process Open Circle skills training. So these are just some of the facilitation skills that we want to remember that we're working on. As you go into the school year, I encourage everyone to, you know, pick one or two that they're really going to try to focus on improving. Empathetic listening. So again, being mindful about our body language, how we're asking questions, ensuring that questions that we're asking are thoughtful, maintaining that eye contact, really modeling what empathetic listening looks like. We want to make sure that we're the listeners in this meeting and not just the facilitators. Continuing to ask open-ended questions such as, how might this look? Or what could happen? Or when might you do this? Or why might you do that? Or who could? So really ensuring that we're opening up questions to those open-ended responses. And we really want to avoid questions that kind of lead to yes, no, maybe, or short or one answer responses, right? We really want to promote open-mindedness and thinking and collaborative conversations. Non-judgmental responses. Now, this is one of the facilitation skills that I personally find I have a hard time with, because we want to encourage and praise, right? We want to say, oh, that's a great idea, or oh, thank you so much, that was awesome. We really want to be really mindful about that, because we could unintentionally extinguish someone else who had a similar or completely different idea. So we want to be really mindful to use that non-judgmental response. We don't want to say that that's good or that that's great, or distinguish it in any way. We just kind of want to be really mindful of that our kids' thoughts are our kids' thoughts and their thoughts are not wrong. We want to really promote open conversation. So things like nodding, paraphrasing, using reflective listening skills, or asking open-ended follow-up questions are great ways to use non-judgmental responses. Awareness of participation. So again, we want to make sure that we're using our think time and wait time appropriately. We may need to use extra think time and wait time when we're doing things remotely to give kids an extra thought. Maybe they had a hard time unmuting, or maybe they are putting it into the chat. So we want to give appropriate think time and wait time so that our students have an opportunity to respond. And finally, just being mindful of our own body, voice, and energy. So we want to be relaxed. We want to make sure our own breathing is calm. We want to be mindful of our pacing, not too fast, not too slow. And again, promoting more listening and less of our talking. Really, really want to be the ones that facilitate the conversation among the kids, not just ourselves. Another great video that I heard going through my Open Circle refresher trainings was, again, thinking about where we're at now and how our kids are really going to need extra emotional support at this time. So this is a little clip from the ever so popular Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he just has like a little talk about you know, when things get scary, whenever there's a crisis, look for the helpers.
You know, my mother used to say a long time ago, whenever there would be any really catastrophe that was in the movies or on the air, she would say, always look for the helpers. There will always be helpers, you know, even just on the sidelines. That's why I think that if news programs could make a conscious effort of showing rescue teams, of showing who medical people, anybody who is coming into a place where there's a tragedy, to be sure that they include that. Because if you look for the helpers, you'll know that there's hope.
I just thought that that was a great, I thought that was just a great video that was shared. So I wanted to share that with all of you. So continuing on with our presentation, continuing to encourage our kids to look for the helpers, right? To be mindful that even in a crisis situation, there will always be helpers, like they said. And you know, for the current time, we are those helpers, right? We are the ones who are the helpers. So as we start this school year in Open Circle, we want to make sure that, again, we're starting from the beginning. So beginning together in Open Circle, deciding the rules for Open Circle and helping students getting to know each other's names. So again, Open Circle is a really powerful tool that we have, and we're so lucky to have it. I greatly love Open Circle. It's just a really beautiful time for our kids to really just be present and get to know themselves and to get to know their classmates. So if you are doing Open Circle in person, I do encourage you to take some time to really begin together and practice with your kids. What will this look like? How will we get in a circle? Where should our circle go? And taking that learning experience and experiencing it together. Really introducing the purpose and you know, why we do this together, so that when you are doing it remotely, they have similar expectations at home, right? So they need to be in an upright posture. They need to be, you know, at a chair or at a table or a desk. You know, that if possible, they shouldn't be sitting, you know, on the floor or laying down in a bed. You know, we really want to promote the ability to be sitting up and being engaged and being present, whether that be physically in the classroom or at home. So again, having a discussion as the class around what the rules should be, and then deciding together about what that will look like both at home and in the classroom. Continuing on with that introduction, again, really promoting the use of reflection. Taking that time to pause and check in with yourself, noticing your breathing, how are you feeling, what have you noticed about yourself, what open skills did we use during this activity. So again, really taking that time to set up in the beginning and to reflect at the end. Children should come out of Open Circle really feeling that they got something out of it, and it should be whatever that theme was of the day should carry throughout the day and even throughout the week. So again, hanging up mini posters in your classroom, sharing them in the beginning of your Zoom meetings, reminding them whatever that topic is or whatever that goal is, and making sure that we visit back to it and that we connect it throughout our learning so that it's really powerful. I wanted to share with you again So all of the resources that I've shared with you today, all these little cuts, they come from the Open Circle online curriculum. So although you were all given the physical curriculum to do, you may only have one curriculum. If you were, a kindergarten teacher when you first did Open Circle, you may only have the kindergarten curriculum. If you were a fifth grade teacher, you only have the fifth grade curriculum. All the curriculums are essentially the same. They have the same lessons, just with slight modifications. So if you need any supplemental resources, activities, connections to literature, downloadable handouts, or all of the mini posters are all available online. So again, here are some of the mini posters that we use, the calm breathing, the grateful thinking, the nonverbal signals. So I really, again, I encourage you to use these mini posters, put them in your presentations, use them whether you're doing in-person Open Circle or if you're doing it remotely, and making sure that we're using these visuals and these resources. More resources of what I use today. The Open Circle page has a lot of tips and tricks. I also shared that that little image from PBS Kids of Daniel Tiger and his mom washing their hands. There's a whole page about how to talk to your kids about COVID-19. It's a great resource. More tech tips for Open Circle meetings, remote Open Circle meetings, lessons and activities are available there, and making Open Circle connections remotely. So again, there's lots of resources that Open Circle has for you. Again, if you need anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly. Again, my name is Lauren Sabella, and have a great day. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.